Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP updated Amon build in Borderlands 4. After his recent nerfs kind of ruined his overall damage output, we can actually get some pretty crazy damage if we use a bit of a different skill tree. Now, the There Is Only Red was nerfed. This is a boss in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, by the way. We took him down really quickly. Now, the thing is, unfortunately, there was a really heavy nerf to There Is Only Red. Now, only it restores 4 seconds of the duration, but you can see there, we can do a crazy amounts of damage without even having to go and take Berserk and There Is Only Red. This is while using the full red skill tree, and actually there's some fun abilities if we add in fire damage here, so this can be a build if you don't want to use the red skill tree, which I still do think is quite good, so you can just pause that there. I don't think this will end up ever getting nerfed because this comes from the Primal Surge here. Whenever we apply status effects, there's a chance to restore our shield, ammo, and restoration chance. So we basically are going to keep our ammo full by utilizing this and affecting the enemy with a status from the tail of the comet. What's amazing is there's a wide variety of different ordinances that will work. Even purples and blues even will do a great amount. And we don't have to use any type of legendary class mod. There's some actually purple ones that are great too, with some good chances of dropping. Now, I do want to mention one thing right away, that heavy ordinances actually get benefits from ordnance damage and gun damage. So if you can get items that boost up gun damage, they apply to this. And this also makes use of the specialization, the full spectrum arsenal, which adds your gun damage to your ordnance. Normally your grenades would just get the damage, but this actually applies to heavy ordinances, making it 1.5 times that, because you already got it 1 times from the gun damage, and this adds another half to it. So it's actually a huge boost. Now again, here's a blue only skill tree if you want to just do this. I'm going to show a combination here a little bit differently, but this one works very well, especially if you want to use fire damage, because this will increase your fire rate and also your flame affinity. There's actually some really good weapons, like the Foxtrot here, which has the Jacob's Lace accessory, and the XXL Affinity gun, which are both fire guns, which if you have like the Super Soldier, you can fire this one infinitely and it looks hilarious, but they will increase in their fire rate due to the skill tree. So if you like these two weapons, is perfect. This build comes online early, so for levels 1 through 5, Scorch Kairos, by far the best choice. This increases magazine size and ordnance damage. It's absolutely nuts. Now, the next one is also a given. We want to take Tail of the Comet. Whenever we deal ordnance damage, which is kind of a big component of this build, there's a chance to apply a cryo status effect that deals cryo damage over time for a duration. So we don't really care too much about the damage. It's more so to apply the status effects for Primal Surge. This is a really good combination, and this is affected by status effect application chance. There's some other benefits we can get to apply more statuses, getting your ammo back more quickly. Now, Bullet Hail is kind of cool, giving you ricochet chance. Ricochets are fun, but I don't think anyone does it better than Rafa, so what's actually better is, again, I mentioned that gun damage actually will apply to heavy ordinances. So this one can give us 20% damage on our guns when our health is full, and then it's doubled. So we get that damage added to not only our weapons, but again, our heavy ordinances. So this is a really good choice. Now we want to get down here for the Primal Surge right away. So our next choice, honestly, Northern Wind's not that great. Critical hits have a chance to apply slow to enemies, which, okay, but not a good choice. I actually like to take this. So this actually got buffed up and works properly now, and they changed how this works entirely. I actually like it now. Ordnance damage has a chance to critically hit, and critical hits from direct ordnance damage apply shock. I like to take at least still 1 point into this. This gives it the critical hit chance that we want. It's good to take higher levels in this, but that critical hit chance is great. Even if it's not high, we're still shooting him so many rounds. This is worth taking, and the shock damage bonus is nice. That's another type of damage that we can add onto our guns. And the Icy Rage is going to be our next choice here. So whenever we kill an enemy with cryo damage from guns or status effects, which again, we got lots of that, we'll apply a cryo affinity for a duration, which increases our gun damage by 6.25 per stack. So again, boosting up our gun damage, which impacts our ordnance damage. And once we get down here, the Primal Surge is worth taking all the points into. So this gives us shield regeneration. You can see there, there's 25% chance of this happening, and 3% shield and 6% ammo per point. So upwards of 30 ammo. 30% ammo restoration and 50% shield restoration. This is just a crazy ability. Even if they end up nerfing this a bit, I still see it being really powerful due to the amount of statuses you apply onto the enemy with our different abilities here. So especially furthermore, if you want to take like a fire stack and apply burns and also cryo damage at the same time, it's kind of a cool combo. Now I want to note that this is not a good capstone to take. The reason being is this is going to just give us a hazard damage over time. Hazards really aren't good in Borderlands. I haven't found one that's good in the game yet. We don't want this. It's fun if you're going to use the action skill heavily, because you can just do the whips down, but it's actually better to stick with the this here. Now, what we want to do for augments is take Cryonic Thrum. So whenever we have this, we actually do a pulse dealing cryo ordnance damage in an area of effect, and this will restore our allies' health. So this is great if you're playing by yourself or with teammates. And while aiming, our movement speed is reduced, but we get bonus cryo damage on our guns, and it will consume our vengeance. This is a good ability just to be able to deal area of effect damage if you activate your action skill, which has been changed to not block the screen as much, which is nice, but it gives you a damage reduction and you block damage too. So this is good to just give us flat out extra damage. If you like using the action skill, then going with the Eternal Winter is great, because this will actually give us you can keep your action skill up pretty much infinitely by spamming it, and it gets boosted by our ordnance damage, since this is cryo ordnance damage. So this can be a good choice too. But the reason that we don't want to take a capstone unless we're going in the left skill tree from this side is because this will increase our projectile damage by 25% and friendly projectile speed by 50%. This is great if you want to use a heavy ordnance with rockets that are a little bit slower. This will speed them up, and it also creates a little wall. With this one, it makes a wall around you, and it actually increases your projectile damage by 50%. And that's what you saw at the start of this video. It's actually probably a bit stronger to do it this way in certain. It takes less setup to do it this way versus going into the red skill tree. It takes a little bit more setup. And honestly, the extra cryo affinity and shards aren't really that good. We just want the cryo affinity to give us the extra gun damage for our ordnances. Now, as mentioned, you can take this to increase your fire rate with fire weapons. If you really like fire weapons, this is great. And then you're going to want the ballistic bulwark. Whenever we deal ordnance damage, we get overshield based on that damage, which is huge because we can use some different items to boost this up even further. Now, I showed you that other build here. We can take the stacks here, and then the smelter, whenever we get a kill, it reduces our forge skill cooldown, which lets us put up the firewall more frequently. But it's also strong to go into this skill tree here because we can get heavy plate, which gives us a maximum shield capacity, and over shield capacity 45%. That's actually huge. We can then take 1 point into the gut punch, which reduces the enemy's damage dealt by 40%, and we also deal 20% more damage to them. So this is a really good one, and we're going to apply this often because ordnance is hit frequently with a heavy ordnance. Now, if you really like movement speed, Impetus here will give us a plus 9% movement speed per stack on a kill, and you can get 3 stacks of that, so you can get moving pretty quickly. However, it's probably better to go with Wield the Storm here, which will give you increased status effect damage and duration, so you can get your statuses doing a little bit more damage. There is the Mental Urge to give you your action skill cooldown back quicker, but I actually prefer to go with the Bullet Storm here whenever we apply a status effect. Again, we're doing that often. We get increased gun damage for duration, 7.5 per stack, 10 seconds, and 5 max stacks. So again, this is going to impact our heavy ordinances. Then we can go down to the Berserk here. You could take 1 point of Bloodlust, which will give you lifesteal whenever your shield breaks, and releases a Bloodlust also when you use your action skill, so you can get a bit of lifesteal for 8 seconds on that. But I think Berserk is even better. So whenever you use your Forge skill, which again is Firewall to boost up our ordnance damage, we are going to become Berserk for duration, becoming immune to slow, bonus cryo damage with gun and melee damage. So that bonus cryo damage, again, heavy ordinances. So 30% cryo bonus is actually a nice bonus damage, is better than just getting a bonus to your damage. And then we can take the 3 points, and there's only red. Now, again, I do want to mention this got nerfed pretty heavily. So you're going to want to try and take out enemies as quickly as possible, and possibly just go for mobs at this point instead of fighting the boss. Kind of annoying, but I did show you that build at the start of the blue skill tree. I still do think this one is a little bit better, but I want to kind of give 2 options. Some people like to only stay in 1 skill tree, but this can give us upwards of 600% extra cryo damage, which is a huge boost. Now for class mods, I really like the Cyborg. There's a few really good ones. There's even the Grenadier here, which can give you some boosts to your overall red skill tree. But Cyborg ends up being good because you're likely going to roll damage dealt. This one also came with Ordnance damage and Ordnance critical hit chance, which is just an insane roll. And also Gadgets Ahoy, which is great too for firmwares. Now, I also do not mind taking something like the Forge Master, which lets you set up your Forge Wall once again. And this is not going to give you the same boost. It has weird skills rolls on it, and that's why the purples are actually better for this build, because you can get purple rolls in a lot of your grenade refreshing abilities. We got this one here giving us 3 points into Endless Bombardment, which is really good because heavy ordnance have a chance to refund 1 ammo and damaging enemies, 18% chance. This gives us even further ammo sustain, but you don't even need that with the Primal Surge. You got a really good chance of applying that. And then we get the 2 points here giving us the overshield from ordnance damage, which keeps us alive. So that's why purples are really good, because you can get that. And it'll also give us a boost to our ordnance damage and magazine size. So really good roll. Now for best shield, I really like a super soldier, increasing your overall fire rate, movement speed, and ammo regeneration. This lets you fire infinitely with Affinity XXXL. And also Wixie Foxtrot works well with this weapon. And also if you can get the Siphon to get overshield, that can be a nice roll too. Watts for Dinner with the Amp can be pretty effective, giving yourself a reduction to your shield, but you get the shield back from dealing ordnance damage. That's a fun choice, but I really do like the Super Soldier on this build. It just feels fun moving around quicker. I also like to look for any type of enhancement that's going to, if you get one that can increase your gun damage and magazine size, then you want to use the bod for your gun, because this is going to increase the damage 5 times, because gun damage is applied to each of the types of the weapon there. You can also go with any of the ones that are going to give you the Jacob's increased bounce pass, or anything that's going to give you the Vladoff, like this one here, getting you 30% extra projectile per shot and increase. The Vladoff's ones can be really good, especially since we're using a lot of different Vladoff weapons here. So I'll equip that, and I'll leave on. I really like the Atling gun. This is probably the best ordnance in the game. If you want a purple version, the Utka here is really good too. It shoots 2 barrels simultaneously. The Atling gun can roll with different elements. It reduces the damage. This one's around 30k DPS. This one's only 18k for fire, 23k for cryo, and then we have 18k for radiation. I really like either going with the no elemental or going with cryo efficiency. Also for ordnances, the rocket socket, I really enjoy this one in Tongue Wag. There's so many different good purple rocket launchers. Try them out. You're probably going to find a new one that's really great. And I also really like the disc jockey, which you can bounce these off of the ground. They get increased damage, and the more bounce they do, the more damage they do. And you can get a cryo one, which is great. But even so, one without cryo is still pretty good. The DPS number is misleading. It's actually very high on these. For mobbing, the bottled lightning is going to be your best choice. You can take out many enemies really quickly with that. And this streamer is nice too. It shoots a big beam that can pierce through enemies, and it's actually a pretty good weapon. There's a cryo efficiency one as well. Raven Fire can also be pretty fun too. There's actually so many good ones. And for our Repkit, the triple bypass with splash damage increases is nice. Splash damage is kind of weird and sometimes how it works, but that one's a pretty decent one. You can also get one that's going to increase your tank damage. You can also get one that's going to give you overshield. I don't like the overshield one. I'd probably prefer getting anything that's going to increase your damage output. There's one that'll make you berserk and deal extra damage to the enemies. I don't have it on this character, but that one's good too. And even the war paint here, which can give you increased fire rate, movement speed, which is pretty effective too if you want to throw that on. As mentioned, for weapons, the Affinity XXXL can be really great with a Super Soldier. You can fire this infinitely, especially if you went with just the blue skill tree. And the Whiskey Foxtrot, also a good one for that. Rainbow Vomit also fits very well on here. And one with Incendiary Shock and Cryo can be pretty effective, or one with radiation damage as well. And this is also a Jacob's License gun, so it can chain around. You also get the you can get the tracker darts. That is pretty effective too. There's a lot of good shotguns. I also really like the TK's Wave if you got splash damage, because it does do splash damage, and you can get the Gyrojet version of this as well, which is pretty effective. Lucian's Flank, another really great weapon, will refill ammo whenever you get critical hits. Not to the same effect as some of the other weapons here. Hot Slugger, always a good choice, never a bad one. Armored Bods are nice, but I prefer going with one that's going to have either SMG or sniper ammo for its second barrel, and then also Gyrojets. This is just a huge boost to its damage. And then also Wombo Combo, hard to go wrong with the Cryo Wombo Combo, or really any of the different Wombo Combos are all really strong. Fire, depending on the boss that you're going against, you can swap these out. And Whiskey Foxtrot is also another really fun one here too. I guess I didn't mention, but I have a few different roles. Some of them have the Torglakes and Stickies, and some of them don't, but they're all quite fun. And for specializations, as I previously mentioned, the full spectrum arsenal will make it so that you get gun damage and then 1.5 times whatever gun damage boost. So if you get 100% boost to your gun damage, you actually get 150% boost to your ordnance damage. Crazy for heavy ordinances. And also the fragmented payload will give you an increased critical hit chance and damage. This is just a good one to boost up the further damage on that. We also get rid of you this, as gun damage will again apply to that. So 50% extra gun damage on multiple stacks. And then since we get overshield so easily, the best defense gives us plus 30% damage dealt, which is great to apply here. Now, you can use this since our action skill does come up pretty quickly, but I don't like it that much. And also the contamination can be nice, because this will give you increased status effect application chance. And this actually ends up being a good one, but you do have to make a sacrifice somewhere. I have tested it. You're going to be applying status effects quick enough to regenerate your ammo, so it's not a huge worry. But if you're going to get some vault bosses later on, this may be a very good choice. Now, we can just use guns, and something like the TK's Wave Torque Stickies can do a crazy amount, because once you reload, you see their boss's health bar is gone. Oh, wow, that almost finished them off. This is in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5 again, and it also is good at ragdolling. The TK's Wave is a crazy weapon, super high damage. Lucian's Flank isn't perfect, but it can be fun, especially if you get a bunch of enemies around, because it'll chain around to multiple enemies. But you see they're not as fast as the other weapons that we have there. The Bod always will do Bod things. It can rip through the enemy's health bars really quickly, as you see there, and it has a fast reload rate, so you can actually go quickly with it. And Old Reliable is setting down your forge wall here, activating your grenade, and just firing away. Heave away, me jollies. You just go right ahead with that, and it absolutely destroys health bars. Again, using the wall to increase its damage is nice, and the blue skill tree can actually boost it up even further. But yeah, you also have your shield here, and I'd recommend using your shield. The forge waves are okay, like they actually do pretty respectable damage, but the thing is with these, it is going to just give you a big block to your overall damage. And then once your shield goes down, you get a 60% damage reduction. If you blow through the amount of shield you're going to block damage with. So it's actually a really good choice for defense, offensive, and everything all combined. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments. This is a very powerful build, and I think it's a lot of fun. Amon is still really great even after the updates, and changes to the way that there is only red works, he's still on top. So let me know your thoughts and comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. We'll catch y'all in the next one.